Hi players, bonjour from Geneva, my name is Asaf and welcome to my channel Easy Board Games. Today I'm going to have for you a 2-round solo playthrough of Luthier that was published by Paverson Games. As always, if you learn something new or saw something that you like, feel free to subscribe to the channel, like and comment on the video. All of these are absolutely free things that you can do that are going to help me a lot. Ready to see how it goes? Let the easy playthrough begin. Alright guys, so obviously you can see that there are slight modifications to the setup when we're playing versus the AI, so let's take a few minutes talking about it. First of all, when we're talking about the main board, we're going to use one of these cards that is called an orchestra setup card. So that means that we're going to use a third color that obviously is not going to be in this game, just in order to block a few spaces in the orchestra that are going to take the first chairs. Obviously you can see that we have some instruments, some performance tokens, and also some repair tokens. On top of that, at the bottom part of the card, we can see what tier of awards are going to be blocked in the public award tiles. And after that, in case you haven't noticed, of course, since obviously when we're playing versus the AI, it's going to be 1 versus 1, then we're going to add these tiles that we can see on the performance location and also in the repair location. This is something that we will do also when we're playing just 2 players, so not necessarily versus the AI, but it's something that is worth paying attention to. Moving on to the AI setup, we're going to flip one of the player boards, and that is going to give us the AI bench board. So the first thing that we're going to do is to draw one random AI guild card, and that is going to help us not only with the initial setup, but also taking decisions throughout the game. Now we're going to place some resource cubes, doesn't really matter in what color, whatever you prefer, and we're going to place one of them on the AI goal track, and also a few of them right over here that are going to help us understand what are the priorities of the AI. Now we're going to place all of them on 0, but according to the symbols that we can see right over here at the bottom, we're going to push each cube that correspond to the same symbol. This is why one cube is going to go right from the salon, also one from the repair, and also one from the guild. Also, at the beginning of the game, we're going to give the AI workers 1, 2, and 3, and we're going to give them one patron card, and after that we're going to take the instrument deck, we're going to look only at the back of it, and the first card that corresponded to the main request of that patron we're going to take. In our case it was a fortepiano, but it can be really any other percussion and keyboard card. After that, we're going to take the AI action cards and we're going to separate them into 3 categories. We have category 1, category 2, and we can of course see the numbers at the top left corner of the card, and also category 3. Category 1, we're going to completely shuffle and we're going to place it face down at the leftmost location at the bottom of the workbench of the AI. The rest of the setup is going to be exactly the same, including of course for our player, so that means that we have taken one Luthier portrait token, we took one patron, we took one instrument card, we took the different bonuses that we're going to start with, and also the 2 personal goals, etc. And with that, guys, we are ready to start our first turn. Now we're going to have exactly the same phases, and the first phase is of course start of round. So we are not going to have over here start of round bonuses, right? We're not there yet. And in general, the AI doesn't care about different bonuses, resources, inspiration, etc. You're going to see it throughout the playthrough. Then we're going to advance the patient cube, and we're going to receive the gift. So we're going to move it 1 step to the right, and we're going to take for it 5 money, right? That is the bonus of that patron. And after that, we're going to place instruments on the roughing bench. So that means that we can take our card and place it right over here. After we finish that, we're going to move on to the planning phase, and this is where things are starting to be interesting for the AI. Now, first of all, if you ask yourself how come the AI goes first, so again, we need to look at this card and see what is the number that we have at the bottom right corner of the card. Now, if this number is lower than the number that we have seen before on our Luthier portrait token, that means of course, just like in a regular game, that they're going to be first in the turn order. So in order to prepare us for the preparation phase, we're going to take all of the workers of the AI. Again, here we have only 3. We're going to shuffle them and we're going to place them in a random stack just like this. Now, since it's going to be the AI that is going to take the first turn in the planning phase, we're going to draw one random card that, of course, since the deck is already shuffled, we're going to draw the first one, and we're going to place it in the leftmost available space at the bottom of the AI player board. So we're going to take this, flip it to the other side, and that will tell us where the AI is going to place their first worker. So since we have revealed the salon location, we're going to take the first worker over here, and of course face down, we're going to place it in the location of the salon. Now it's going to be our turn to place a worker in one of the locations. So we're simply going to take one of our workers and place it in one of the locations that is interesting for us. I've decided to take one worker and place it in the perform location. Now again, it's the AI's turn, so again we're going to take one more card, reveal it. Then we have the perform location, so we're going to take one of the workers and place it as well right over there. And then it's going to continue like this until all players are going to finish placing their workers. So with your permission, I'm going to continue off screen and then we're going to move on. So this is the situation at the end of the planning phase, and as you can see, the AI has placed their workers in the salon, in the perform, and also in the balcony. Now we can move on to the resolution phase, and the first thing that we're going to do is to rearrange the cards according to the priority track of the AI. So the priority is basically the cube that is most to the right, and the ties are going to be broken from up to down. So that means, of course, that the salon is going to stay in the first priority. Then we have the balcony and the perform that are basically in the same location, but since perform is higher on the priority track, that card is going to be first. This is why we're going to leave the cards as they are. Now again, according to the turn order, the red player, that means the AI, is going to resolve their action first. So now we're going to go to the leftmost card that doesn't have a worker on that card, and we're going to resolve that action. So obviously according to the priority, starting with the salon. And when we need to resolve an action in a location, we're going to do it exactly as we've seen it with the base game. Of course, the AI is going to operate a little bit differently. So let's reveal the two tokens that we have over here from, of course, left to right. So let's reveal them. We have over here 2, and we have 2 as well. Of course, you don't need to place the player's workers face down, but it's just to give a little bit more atmosphere and to be true to the original game. Now, a worker's skill level is going to be combined from 2 things for the AI. First of all, we have the value on the worker itself, and on top of that, we're going to add the number that we have with the priority track. So again, we're resolving the salon. This is the row that corresponds to that action. The cube right now is on number 1. That means that the skill level of the automa will be 2 plus 1, which make it 3. So let's see how the automa is going to resolve the salon. So now we basically have some sort of a list of priorities, and that will help us to understand which card the AI is going to take. The first priority is that we're going to take a patron with a primary requirement matching an unassigned instrument which are kept on the right of their board. Since right now we don't have an unassigned instrument for the automa player, we're going to skip that and we're going to move to number 2, and that is patron from the era that is the leftmost on the solo guild card. So again, we're going to go back to the guild card, and we see that the leftmost symbol actually corresponds to the classic era. So we can see that we have 2 of these cards over here, this one and this one. So we need to go to the next priority to understand which one of those we're going to take. Then we can see that it's going to be the patron furthest from the deck. So from the deck, furthest from it. So we're going to take this patron and we're going to place it right over here. As you understand, the AI can have only the maximum of 2 patrons. Now that it's going to be our turn to resolve it, well, it's not really what I planned, so we're going to have to do things a little bit differently. And since I don't have enough resources in order to take this patron, which is the one that I wanted, I'm going to take actually the alternate action, which is to take 1 apprentice and 2 inspiration. So apprentice, as always, we're going to take from here, and 2 inspiration from the supply. We're going to place it next to our board. Of course, it's off camera right now, but we'll see it later. After we have resolved this action, we can simply take back the workers next to the different worker benches. Moving on, now it's going to be our turn to resolve a location, and in order not to take too much risk, I think that I'm going to go for the perform. So now let's see what we're going to have. They have worker level 3, we have 5, and we can see that with the perform, their cube is still on 0. So we're not going to add anything to the skill level of the automa. That means that we're going to resolve our action first. So I think it's going to be pretty obvious. I'm going to try and perform this card right over here. And again, it's going to be just like we saw with the basic game. So let's take these 2 white dice, roll them, and see what's going to happen. And we have a pretty good result. That is going to be 5. Plus the 5 that we already have over here, that is a 10, and that is definitely enough to achieve the second tier of that performance. I don't think that I would like actually to add 3 more inspiration for the third tier, so I'm going to stay with that. Now we're going to resolve it as always. So we're going to, of course, advance with our prestige marker 1 step. Then we're going to take 2 money from the supply, and on top of that we get to place a performance token. Obviously it's going to be from the classical period, and I would like to take first chair. I think that the most interesting for me will be to place it right over here. So let's place this token in this location. We're going to take 1 animal token and also another apprentice. And on top of that, this card is going to help us to achieve one of the secondary requirements of our Patreon. So we're going to just slide it down. Again, it's off camera, but it's not so important right now. And we're going to place the patient cube of that Patreon all the way to the left. Moving on, it's time to resolve the same action for the AI. And again, we have here priorities. Now, basically, of course, they have only 1 card, but pay attention that the more the game is going to progress, the better cards the automa is going to have, and that will allow them to pretty much freely look in this deck until they're going to find what they're looking for. It's still not our case, so let's resolve it priority by priority. First of all, they would like to have a performance matching to an active patron's unfulfilled secondary requirement. So as you can see, none of them have this secondary requirement, so we're moving on. Then we'll have a performance of the era that is leftmost on the solo guild card. So going from left to right, we have the classic, romantic, and the baroque. So that means that they're going to go for the romantic. Again, I know it's a little bit funny since they have only 1 card, but maybe we're going to see a little bit later what happens when their card is good enough and they can look through the deck. So now when they need to resolve it, what they're going to do is first of all determine the level of performance that they're going to achieve. They're going to take basically the skill level of the worker, add to that the number that we've saw before with the priority track, and on top of it, on the card itself, we can see that we have a plus and then some sort of a value. In our case, it's going to be 7, and since the priority track of the performance is actually 0, that means that we're going to have 10. Now 10 obviously allows the AI to accomplish this performance at the highest tier, so that's pretty much good for them. So first of all, they're going to receive 1 prestige, no problem with that. Then they're going to receive money, but the AI does not care about money. And the last thing that they're going to do is to take one of their performance tokens and place it also in the orchestra. Now also here we have some sort of priorities, and as you can see we have 3 places that are completely available from the romantic period. Now their first priority is of course to claim an empty first chair, but again we have here 3 of those, so let's see what is the next priority. Then they would like to steal a first chair, of course if it's possible, like you remember with the basic game, if they have enough tokens in that place. Then their next priority is going to be the least repair or performance tokens. Again, not relevant. And then if there are multiple options of the same priority level, we'll need to follow the era or type priority on the solo guild card. So if I understood correctly, their priority is going to be from the winds type of instruments. So now again, we can see that we have this one that is available. We're going to take this token and we'll place it right over here to take the first chair. Now, since neither of their patrons had these requirements of the performance card, we can simply discard this card. Now we can take back both of these workers next to the player boards. And we're going to move on to the next activation of the AI. Obviously, their last worker is going to be in the balcony, so they will be the only ones resolving this action. Flipping it to the other side, we have 1. Looking at the priority track, we have 0, so their skill level is going to stay 1, which is not really important since when they are resolving alone the action, basically they don't care about skill level bonuses, so it's not really important. For the balcony, first of all, we'll need to take one token that is not of use of the AI, so that can be one of the specialist worker, and we're going to place it, of course, right over here to show that actually they're going to affect the turn order of the next round. I know that you already know that it's not going to change anything, but at least let's try and keep it in an order way. Now, something that I forgot to do and actually is super important is that for the AI, the tokens are not going to go back next to the board. Actually, they're going to be placed again on the cards themselves. So we remember that with the Salon, we had a worker with a value of 3, and then with the Performance, we had a worker with a value of 2. And every time you need to resolve their action, you're just going to go to the leftmost card that doesn't have a worker on. So I apologize for that, and I'm going to continue. And now for the balcony, what we need to do is to check what is the level of the AI action card. Since this is the first level of the balcony card, nothing is going to happen. When you're going to have the second or third tier of the same card, they're going to start claiming these public awards. Again, it's not important for us, so we're going to take this token and place it right over here on the card. Now it's our turn to resolve the next action, so we can feel free to do whatever we want. I think what I would like to do is first of all resolve the repair. We have over here the value of 3. Before we continue, another mistake that I did is basically when I resolved the perform, I needed to use the skill level and actually advance one step up on the track, so I apologize for that. Going back to the repair, now we can choose one of the cards in order to repair it, and I think that we're going to go, of course, to the tier 1. That will cost us 1 wood and 1 animal token, so these are the 2 resources I'm going to put back in the supply. Then we're going to score the prestige points, so that is 2 more for us, and after that we can place a repair token in the orchestra. Obviously, since this is a strings type of instrument, we can place it somewhere on this row. So again, let's take the advantage of the first chair, and I think that actually resources is going to be the right answer. So let's place this token right over here, take 1 animal resource and also 2 money from the supply. And after that also we can place this card behind our patron, since this is another requirement that they have. So we just need to do one more thing in order to complete this patron, which I'm kind of happy about it. So after we finish that, we can remove that worker, and we're going to move on to the last action, that is the guild. Let's flip it to the other side. We have only 1. In that case, I'm going to look over here, and I think actually that it's going to help us to take this card. So let's take the harp and place it in our hands. That is also a rare instrument, so that can serve us a little bit later. And we're going to remove this token back to our board. Now that we have basically finished resolving the resolution phase, we're going to move on to the AI upkeep. So now, as you can see at the bottom of each card, we're going to have some priorities that are going to go to the left and some priorities that are going to go to the right. So we're going to start first of all with the reductions of all the cards. So that means that the Salon is going to go 2 steps to the left. Obviously, we have only 1. Also, we have the Performance going 2 times to the left, so we can see that it's already on the leftmost position. And then we're going to move to the right all the priorities, again starting from left to right. Performance is going to go 1 step to the right. Over here we'll have the guild 1 step to the right, then balcony 1 step to the right, and also again Performance 1 step to the right. Pay attention that if one of the tokens is reaching the last column, then they're going to receive that specific bonus, and we're going to place that cube back on 0. Then we will need to check if we're going to upgrade any one of these cards. So let's see actually how does it go. We can see on the bottom right corner of each card, they're going to tell us if you have a worker from a specific skill level. Again, with different cards, it's going to be different. Then you're going to upgrade that specific card. So here they're telling us if the worker that was placed over here is 2 or more, then take this card from the second tier and replace it. Okay, so that is indeed the situation. Let's remove this worker. And we have the Salon basically card that is going to be upgraded. So let's change it just like this, and this card we can really discard from the game. It's not going to come back to us. Then we'll move to the next card. So again, we do have a worker with 2 or more. We're going to remove that, and the performance card is going to be upgraded, so we can place it just like this. And then we can see that with the last card, we have a worker with a value of 1, so this card is not going to be upgraded. Now, instead of the cards that we have upgraded, we can already take the next tier from tier 3 and then take out the cards that are missing. In our case, it's going to be, as you guessed it, the Salon, and also it's going to be the Performance. Now we can take the cards that we have on the board and shuffle them with the cards that we haven't used in the previous round. So let's give it a good shuffle. As always, the best shuffle on YouTube, and we're ready for the next round. Not before we're going to resolve, of course, the phase of the end of the round. So let's see what we're going to have over here. First of all, we need to update the turn order track, so nothing needs to be updated over here because, of course, they're going to stay the first player. We can remove this token. Then we need to retrieve any leftover workers, which we have none of those. We'll need to assign the specialty workers. Again, we have none of those. Then we'll need to reset the card tokens. We didn't go to the market, and reveal the next market card. So that means we're going to discard market card number 1, and we're going to reveal the next one. Next, we're going to discard all tier 1 cards, but as you can see, we have none of those with any of the cards. And then we'll need to slide tier 2 and 3 and refresh the different cards. The last thing is to move the round marker to the next round. So let's take one more round and see if we can actually accomplish a little bit more actions so we can understand the automa a little bit better. Now for the phase of the start of the round, we're going to take start of round bonuses. We have none of those. Next, we're going to advance the Patreon cubes and receive the gifts. So just like we've seen before, I'm going to advance my Patience Patreon cube, and we're going to receive for it 5 money. And then we're going to place instruments on the roughing bench. After that, we'll continue to the planning phase. So again, we'll take all the available workers of the AI. We're going to give them a good shuffle. Then we're going to create some sort of a stack. And then since they're going to place their workers first, we're going to simply take a card, reveal it, and then it will show us where we're going to place our first worker. So the first card that we're revealing belongs to the guild. So we're going to take one of their workers and we're going to place it just like this. Now it's going to be our turn. I would like to take one more Patreon, so I'm going to place my worker in the Salon. Then the next card that they're going to take belongs to the Performance again. So let's take a worker and place it just like this. I'm going to place a worker in the guild as well, but I'm going to add to it one apprentice. And the third card that the AI is going to draw actually belongs to the roughing/finishing action. And that actually means that we have only one location that the AI is going to resolve both of them. Let's take this worker and place it on their bench. And now when it's time to go to the resolution phase, we'll need to rearrange the action cards according to the priority. So even though the Performance and the guild are actually in the same priority, the Performance is higher on the track, and this is why these two cards are going to swap places. And in general, the roughing/finishing action card of the AI is always going to be last. So obviously we don't have any priorities, but doesn't matter what happens, this card will always be resolved at the end. Now it's time to start resolving the actions, so we're going to go, of course, for the Performance. Let's see which worker the AI has placed in the Perform, and we have over here 2. So the skill level is 2 plus 2, right? This is according to the priority track, so that's already 4, plus 9. So this card is already better than what we've seen before, so that is 13. Now, in order to understand which card they're going to perform, again, we're going to go to the priority. And since just like last time, neither of the patrons has a secondary requirement of Performance, we're going to skip the first one and we're going to go to the Performance of the era that is leftmost on the solo guild card. So again, that is going to be the classic era. We don't have one of these Performance, so we're looking at the second symbol, that is the romantic era. So they're going to perform this card. And we already agreed that they have a 13, so that will be enough for them to accomplish the second tier of that Performance. First of all, let's give them the 2 prestige, money they don't care about, but they are going to place one of their performance tokens. So since they have performed right now a card from the Romantic era, let's place it over here. They would like to take first chair. So first chairs we have only in these two locations. Since the priority is basically the same, right? They are on the same row. We will need now to take a die and roll it. So let's take a white die, roll it, and see what is going to happen. And they have two notes, and when they have two notes, it's going to be the right location. So we're going to place their token over here, and this card we can simply discard. Now we're going to take this worker, and of course, not like I've missed the last time, we're going to place it immediately on the card. You can already pay attention that this card is not going to be upgraded because that would have required a level 3 worker. Okay, now it's our turn to resolve a worker. So I think we're going to go to the guild since this is the only place that I'm actually contested for. So let's flip it to the other side. Of course, they have placed their worker first. Flipping it to the other side, they have 1, but actually with the guild, they have 3, right? 1 plus 2. Let's see what we have placed over here. So we have 3 plus an apprentice, so that is 4. That means, of course, that we're going to resolve our action first. So I'm going to take this instrument that is called transverse flute. We're going to place it in our hand, no problem. And now I'm not going to forget, we have the skill level of 4, right? 3 plus an apprentice. That means that we'll be able to take any one resource that we would like. I think that I'm going to take 1 metal resource, but I will not be able to place this card in the roughing bench since it's already occupied by 2 instruments, which is okay. I'm still not stressed for that. So now we can discard our apprentice back to the market, and the worker is going to go back to our hands. Moving on to resolving the action for the AI, let's see what is going to be their priority. So they would like to take an instrument matching an active patron with an unfulfilled primary requirement with no assigned instrument. Okay, that was a bit of a mouthful. So basically what happens is we can see that we have 1 instrument assigned to the leftmost patron, and we have no instrument assigned to the right patron. So we're going to take an instrument that is going to correspond to the primary requirement of that patron. Since we can see that it belongs to the winds type of instruments, we're simply going to take this card and we're going to place it above the patron. Now that we have resolved this action, let's take the worker and place it on the card itself. And now it's time for the AI to resolve their next action. They have only 1 worker left, and that is of course on this location of the roughing/finishing. So let's flip it to the other side. We have 3. The skill level here is not really important, so let's see how they're going to resolve this action. For the AI, as you already understood, they're going to complete basically both stages of roughing and finishing with 1 single action. Now for each worker they have on their workbench, they're going to immediately finish one of the instruments, always starting with the left patron and the left instrument, of course, then the right one. And then sometimes we actually have instruments that are not assigned at all to patrons. We would have completed them. So of course, since they have 1 worker, they're going to complete 1 instrument that is going to be the forte piano. So they're not going to spend any resources, of course. For that, they're going to receive 9 prestige, so from 3 they're going to move on to 12, and then they will be able to place a finished instrument in the orchestra. So the forte piano we can see is situated right over here. That means that unfortunately we have lost the first chair of the forte piano, and we're going to place the red instrument just like this. It's a little bit too bad, but nothing to do. And that means actually that we have finished all the requirements for the AI's patron. So we're going to see what they're going to receive. Of course, they're going to receive 4 prestige. So from 12, they're going to move on to 16. And that's basically it. They're not going to receive any other bonuses. We can discard the patron card and all assigned cards that we had with it just to the side of the board of the AI. And then we're going to shift all the patrons and instruments to the left. So since we have this one, they're going to receive priority now. And this worker we can place over here. The next action that I would like to take, since we still have 3 workers over here, is going to be in the salon. So we have 5, not so bad. And I think we're going to take, just for the fun of it, really, I did a little bit strategically wise, I messed up a little bit. Since I don't want to spend money or inspiration, what I would like to do is to take this Patreon and place it on our board. And for that, I think I will take a resource. So I think I will take 1 metal. Let's place it on our board. And with the skill bonus, of course, we can move one of our patience cubes of one of the patrons 1 step to the left and take any gift that we would like. So let's move this one to the left, and we're going to take 5 more money from the supply. Finishing with this action, we have 2 more actions actually on our bench board itself. And before I'm going to address that, actually, let's start with going to the market, because I do need some resources. So let's move this marker here to show that we have used this action this round. So in the market, I'm going to do 2 things, okay? First of all, I'm going to spend 15 money in order to advance on this track right over here. And also I'm going to buy 2 wood. So 2 wood is going to cost for me 6. So let's place it in the supply, and I'm going to take 2 wood for that. And actually, you know what? I think I'm going to buy 1 more wood. So that is going to be 2 and 1 inspiration. So let's take 1 more wood. The next action that I would like to do is, of course, on the roughing bench. Let's flip it to the other side. We have a 2 + 1 for the apprentice, that is 3. So first of all, I'm going to take 2 inspiration back to my supply. Then we'll be able to do roughing for at least 1 instrument. So I kind of wanted to do both of them, but the cost of wood was just too much. But that's okay. Let's finish this instrument that is going to cost 2 wood and also 2 metal. Moving it to the other side to the finishing bench. And this apprentice, of course, can go back to the market. This worker can go back to the supply. And now it's time to execute this action. So finishing this instrument is going to cost 2 animal, 1 wood, and 1 metal. And that will allow us to, first of all, take 7 prestige, so we're up to 10. Also, we'll be able to place one of our completed instruments. So we're going to take the first chair right over here. It's not so bad, actually. We're going to take 1 wood, 1 money, and 1 inspiration. And also we can actually complete this Patreon, since that was the last requirements that we had for him. So let's see what we're going to receive. First of all, 7 prestige. From 10, we're going to pass the AI to 17. Also, we get to advance over here on the reputation track, and we can receive back 1 apprentice. And now we're going to flip this card to the other side. We're going to place it underneath our board. And that means that when we're going to have the start of the round bonuses, we're going to receive 5 money. And with that, guys, we have finished the second resolution phase. And let's see how the AI upkeep is going to look like. So let's start, of course, with the changes that we have in the priority. So performance is going to go back 2 steps. Then we're going to have the guild going back 2 steps. After that, we're going to advance with the salon one, also with the repair one, and then again with the guild one. And let's see which cards are going to be upgraded. So not this one, right? We've said it before, not this one, but this card is going to be upgraded. So let's remove all of our workers. This card, we're simply going to discard, replace it with the second upgrade. And immediately we can replace the next card with the 3rd tier. All of these cards we're simply going to shuffle with the cards that we didn't use this round. And with that, we have finished the upkeep of the AI. Let's move on to the end of the round sequence. So the turn order is not going to change. We don't have any workers to retrieve. We didn't get any specialty workers, so we cannot assign anything. We'll need to reset the market, of course. So let's take our token to the other side and reveal the next market card for the next round. After that, we'll discard all tier 1. So I think we have this card and this one that we're going to simply discard. Then we're going to refresh all the cards. And we're going to advance from round number 2 to round number 3. Pay attention that now is the time that the AI is going to receive their next worker, and that is worker number 4. So in the next round, we're not going to draw only 3 cards, we're actually going to draw 4 cards. And this is why we have this iconography that basically says that from the 3rd round, we're going to have 1 more card to place there. And that is it, you guys. I think that you managed to see over here how the AI is going to operate. Of course, we can continue to do a full game, but I just wanted you to see the flow of the game, how it's pretty much going to go without too much confusion. Thank you for watching, take care, and I'll see you next time.